Minnesota is often marketed as an outdoor paradise with high happiness rankings, yet the state map hides fading dots struggling against extinction. From the frozen North Shore to the prairie stretching along the western border, there are settlements cut off from the pulse of the modern economy. These towns are not just quiet, they face a harsh combination of steep population loss, aging infrastructure, and healthcare access that can be hundreds of miles away. Here, empty buildings are not just scenery, but symbols of an economy that left long ago. We are about to examine 15 of the most remote and struggling small towns in Minnesota, places now standing on the edge of uncertainty. In the future, some of them may exist only in memory. Drive north toward the Canadian border in Koochiching County, and you will likely come across Littlefork. This town ranks first for a reason. With a population that has dropped below 600 people, Littlefork defines extreme isolation. Winter temperatures reaching -40 degrees are not anomalies here. They are routine. Historically, the town was a center of the timber industry. As automation increased and paper demand declined, jobs vanished. The view along its main street is dominated by storefronts boarded with plywood. There is no major shopping center within a 20-mile radius. Residents depend on International Falls, even for basic necessities. Littlefork was once known as the jackpine capital of the world. But today, the title feels like bitter irony on streets that show almost no human activity after 5 in the afternoon. Accessibility is a physical challenge. When snowstorms strike, Littlefork is practically cut off from the outside world. Many people recognize Silver Bay for its dramatic Lake Superior views, but its social reality is far darker. The town is known as a company town, built almost overnight in the 1950s to support a taconite processing plant. The problem? When the steel industry falters, the entire town feels the impact. Population decline here has been steady and systematic. Young people leave right after high school because there is little economic diversification. The housing is uniform and rigid, a leftover of Cold War-era city planning that now appears outdated. Despite having massive port facilities, the cost of living does not match wages that have remained stagnant. In an interesting twist, Silver Bay once attempted to rebrand itself as a tourist destination, but its geographic isolation leads travelers to stop in Duluth or Two Harbors instead. Move to the western edge of Minnesota, right along the South Dakota border, and you will find Ortonville. The town is geographically squeezed along the shore of Big Stone Lake. Why is it considered difficult? Because it suffers from what sociologists call a service vacuum. To receive specialized medical care, residents often must drive across state lines, creating insurance and administrative complications. The local agriculture-based economy is also under heavy pressure from land consolidation by large corporations, which pushes out independent small farmers. Its downtown features beautiful granite architecture, reflecting its history as a center of red granite mining. Yet many of those buildings are now occupied only by dust. A population decline of 10% over the past decade is clear evidence that the town's appeal is fading. Now let's move from the western border into the deeper northern woods. Here, Babbitt feels like a geographic anomaly. Tucked far inside the Superior National Forest, access in and out of town depends on just a few narrow roads surrounded by wetlands and dense forest. Built for workers of the Reserve Mining Company, Babbitt has gradually become a retirement community lacking adequate support facilities for an aging population. The buildings look like time capsules from the 1960s. Economically, heavy dependence on a single mine leaves the town exposed whenever global commodity prices fall. What places Babbitt on the most difficult list is its level of social isolation. In winter, outdoor activity becomes nearly impossible for many older residents. Despite being surrounded by striking natural beauty, the absence of public transportation infrastructure turns even basic logistics into a costly burden. Then there is Baudette, which proudly calls itself the walleye capital of the world. Economically, the town survives largely on fishing tourism, yet daily life here is a constant negotiation with the wilderness. Located in Lake of the Woods County, one of the least densely populated counties in the United States, Baudette ranks among the most remote towns you can find in the country. Life here is deeply seasonal. During summer and winter fishing seasons, the town feels alive. Between those peaks, Baudette can resemble a ghost town. Educational and recreational facilities are limited, pushing many young people to relocate to the Twin Cities in search of opportunity. Interestingly, the International Bridge connects residents directly to Canada, but stricter border procedures after the pandemic have complicated cross-border economic interaction. For permanent residents, this remoteness no longer feels adventurous. It feels like a long-term barrier to stability and growth. Appleton offers a clear example of how outside policy decisions can destabilize a small community. The town once depended heavily on a large private prison as its primary economic engine. When the prison closed and later reopened under uncertain conditions, the local economy was thrown into instability. Rows of storefronts along the main street have remained closed for years. Life in Appleton today revolves around uncertainty. Homes are listed at extremely low prices because buyers are scarce. Visually, the massive and quiet prison complex on the edge of town casts a heavy presence. Historically, Appleton was a productive farming community. Now, it has become a dot along the highway that many drivers pass without ever considering a stop. Next, we head east into what was once the industrial heartland. Hibbing may be the largest city on this list, but the focus is on its outer areas that are slowly being abandoned. Known as the birthplace of Bob Dylan and the origin of Greyhound lines, Hibbing is also home to the Hull Rust Mahoning Mine, one of the largest open-pit iron mines in the world. The problem is that the mine continues to expand, literally consuming parts of the old town. Historic buildings have been relocated or demolished. Life near the mining zone is filled with constant noise and drifting dust. Economically, even though mining activity continues, automation has reduced the need for human labor. The result is a sprawling city marked by visible pockets of poverty. Many once grand downtown buildings now appear faded and neglected. The previous city faces an identity crisis, torn between being a historic landmark and an industrial excavation site. Tower reflects a different kind of struggle. The town holds the record for the lowest temperature ever recorded in Minnesota, minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit, or minus 51 degrees Celsius. Imagine operating a town where temperatures like that are possible. Maintaining infrastructure in tower is extremely expensive because freeze-thaw cycles cause repeated damage. The town is very small, with limited public services. Many of its buildings date back to mining operations that shut down in the 1960s. Although the former mine has been converted into a state park, the economic benefits for local residents remain minimal. Tower feels frozen in place, not only in climate, but in economic progress. A similar sense of isolation defines Warroad. Geographically, it sits in a peculiar position at the far northern edge of Minnesota. The town relies heavily on a single company, Marvin Windows and Doors. If that company were to struggle, the entire local economy would be at risk. Such dependence creates a fragile dynamic, leaving little room for small and mid-sized businesses to grow. Accessibility is a major challenge. Reaching certain nearby areas can require crossing into Canada and then re-entering the United States. This creates a unique but exhausting administrative isolation. Visually, Warroad appears tidy yet sterile, like a town existing in the shadow of one dominant corporation, with limited diversity in its economic and urban life. In southwestern Minnesota sits Tracy, a town that never fully recovered from past trauma and sweeping changes in agriculture. In 1968, a powerful tornado tore through the community, and since then, Tracy has seemed to lose much of its momentum. The population continues to shrink as modern farming no longer requires as much human labor as it once did. Old grain elevators stand on the horizon like monuments to a fading era. The hardship in Tracy is not only economic, but social. The lack of gathering spaces for younger generations fuels high out-migration rates. Cracks in the roads mirror a municipal budget stretched thinner each year. Unlike the northern towns, Silver Lake in McLeod County faces a different challenge. It sits close enough to growing regions to feel their pull, yet it remains behind. The town became a commuter community that never fully developed the local amenities needed to sustain itself. Many longtime residents have left, replaced by a more transient population without deep community ties. Wooden buildings in the downtown area show visible signs of aging and decay. There is no strong economic identity here. It is not a tourism hub, not an industrial center, and no longer a dominant farming town. Silver Lake illustrates how a place can become economically isolated, even when it is not geographically far from development. Deer River serves as a gateway to the Leech Lake Indian Reservation, yet the town itself struggles with high poverty rates. Access to quality education and stable, well-paying jobs is limited. The town's appearance reflects these pressures, with aging budget motels and small grocery stores where prices are elevated due to distribution costs in this remote area. Complex social challenges persist, including public health concerns that often receive limited attention from state leadership in St. Paul. Deer River stands as a marker of how cycles of hardship can endure when geographic isolation discourages new investment and opportunity. In Finland, Minnesota, daily life feels close to fading out. This small settlement near the North Shore carries a military past. It once hosted a hilltop Air Force base during the Cold War, and today only concrete ruins and strands of barbed wire remain. After the base closed, Finland's economy declined sharply. The town now resembles a near-ghost community, inhabited by a handful of people seeking extreme quiet. That quiet comes at a cost. No large grocery store, emergency services located far away, and cellular signals that frequently disappear. Living in Finland means being off the grid by necessity. For some, that may sound romantic, but for elderly residents, it creates a serious logistical challenge. Located in the Iron Range, Aurora stands alongside other struggling mining towns. Its downtown looks like a film set from the 1970s that was never updated. Many commercial buildings have windows covered with plywood. Uncertainty over permits for new mining projects has placed Aurora's economy in a painful state of suspension. Public infrastructure investment has stalled, and residential streets show visible signs of deterioration. Even so, Aurora hosts an annual Pumpkin Fest in an effort to attract visitors. The event provides a brief boost, but it cannot repair an economy facing long-term structural decline. Closing the list is Rush City. Located in Chisago County, it is often described as the outer boundary of Twin Cities' influence, yet it has never fully benefited from metropolitan growth. Rush City faces proportionally higher crime rates than many other small towns in Minnesota, often linked to substance abuse issues affecting rural areas. Its infrastructure appears worn, with drainage systems and road conditions frequently criticized by residents. The town feels stuck in between, too far to be considered a thriving suburb, yet too close to qualify for targeted rural assistance. The result is a community that feels overlooked by state policy. In the end, these 15 towns serve as a reminder that Minnesota's vast geography holds challenges rarely seen in tourism brochures. Isolation, dependence on a single industry, and shifting economic climates have turned these places into difficult environments for their residents. Yet, behind abandoned buildings and quiet streets, there are still people who choose to stay because of history, loyalty, and love for their land. Their existence reflects resilience, but also stands as a warning of how slowly a community can fade when the world around it moves too fast and leaves it behind.